how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, in particular, a Cyberpunk 2077 survival challenge. More in particular, the Arasaka Corporation survival challenge. Yeah, that's right, people. We're doing what I want this time. I made a poll. What kind of video do you guys want? You want a horror video? Or you want a Cyberpunk video? Everyone nearly unanimously voted for horror. I'm like, all right, I'm making a horror video. I made a horror video, nobody watched it. So I don't care what you want this time. I'm making a Cyberpunk video, that's what I want to make. I don't even know why I asked you motherfuckers what y'all want. From this point on, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do. The next video is gonna be a colonoscopy, Rouga Rabid's colonoscopy. You know what that is? It's where they take a camera and they shove it up your ass and they just like show all up the inside of your asshole with a camera. That's what this is. From this point on, every video is gonna be Rouga Rabid colonoscopy. This is a colonoscopy challenge now. If you want to see a bunch of Rouga's asshole, then stick around. It's fucking coming. No Doom versus He-Man video anymore. It's just gonna be a trek through Rouga's asshole. If you've never seen one of my videos before and you're still here after all my bitching, whining, and complaining, thank you. Welcome to the channel. The basic idea of this video is simple. We're gonna take one of these four characters and drop them into Night City during the time of Cyberpunk 2077 and have them interact with the Arasaka Corporation, the most powerful corporation in all of Night City, and see how these people might deal and what these interactions might come about. Did that make sense? I don't know, whatever, we're going with it. But I'm wasting up your time. Let's get started. Now, normally in these videos, this is the part where I go over the Arasaka Corporation, tell you what it's all about, what they can do, all the technology they have, what kind of a challenge they will give our survivor characters that have to go through this challenge. But for the most part, that's not entirely necessary here. While Arasaka does have a lot of stuff, I mean, they have an entire massive fucking private military with their own air force, army. They have giant, massive warships that are basically cities on the water. They have nuclear weapons that are stronger than anything our current real-world Earth has ever produced. They have big-ass mechs that can lay waste to whole city blocks pretty casually, but none of that really matters because they're not going to use it in Night City. At the end of the day, Arasaka is a corporation and their main goal is to make money. They're not going to send in the Air Force to Night City to do a fucking strafing run on a bunch of innocent people to kill a single person that's giving them trouble. We know this isn't going to happen because they didn't do it to V in Cyberpunk 2077, even though he literally assaulted their headquarters and they believed he killed the patriarch of their family. It's just not very smart to turn the city that you mostly own into a war zone. All you really need to know is that they're at the forefront of cutting edge technology. They have a bunch of black-clad troopers, which are basically paramilitary slash black ops that are enhanced with all the best technology as well as tons of cybernetics. They basically own the police and everything else that matters in all of Night City, and they have arguably the most powerful character in the entire universe other than V working for them in Atom Smasher. As far as details on exactly what all of this different stuff is capable of, I'll go over it as it becomes relevant throughout the course of this video. The fact is that there's a lot of lore on Arasaka, and the series goes pretty hardcore in depth of everything about them, and there's just no reason to add 30 minutes onto the length of this video to go over a bunch of shit that's not in any way going to apply to the challenge that you clicked on. So yeah, we'll go over it as it's relevant, and that's it. So let's get to the challengers. First up on the chopping block, we have Tetsuo Shimo from Akira, specifically the movie, not the manga. I haven't read the manga. Now, if you have seen the movie or watched the manga, you might be kind of weirded out right now by the placement of this character, because it is kind of weird. I actually thought Tetsuo would be a lot farther in the list as well, because he's easily the most powerful character on this list by a sizable margin. So in Akira, there's this energy source that the people call Akira. Essentially, it is the source of energy that allows everything to happen. It is everything. It's basically the Force or metachlorians or whatever. It's kind of that sort of shit, right? Well, a long time ago, before the start of the film, this child Akira had the ability to tap into this force. This was before the force was actually called Akira. Eventually, the force is just named after this kid because everyone starts believing that Akira is God as opposed to just a kid who gets the ability to tap into some sort of God energy. The government eventually has to step in and deal with Akira because he becomes such a massive fucking problem, and they do, and they think they kill Akira. But even after Akira goes away, that force is still there, and certain people can still tap into it. This one child who's capable of seeing into the future by tapping into this force sees that Akira may come back, and this is where Tetsuo shows up. Tetsuo is a much older person for someone who's capable of tapping in, as usually children tap into it, but he taps into it as like a high school teenager. And this little child girl who can see into the future sees that Tetsuo will bring about the second coming of Akira, and that causes problems, and the military has to like take Tetsuo and deal with him and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, Tetsuo gets a bunch of crazy psychic powers because he can tap into it, because they discover that his brain waves are very similar, actually the opposite of Akira's, which allow him to tap into it in much the same way that Akira did. This gives Tetsuo some of the most powerful psychic abilities that anyone has ever seen since Akira. But Tetsuo is basically the last person you would ever want to get all these powers. He is an insecure, weak, hateful, spiteful little shit who immediately after getting those powers decides to use them to lash out at basically the entire world, and goes on a massive rampage that leads to the deaths of, I don't know, tens of thousands of innocent people. Throughout the course of this movie, we see him collapse a massive bridge, he takes out buildings, he fights against the military, he flies up into space because they try and shoot him with his big ass space laser, and he goes to the fucking laser, and then he controls the laser, starts firing down at the planet before then crashing the laser down on Earth. Basically, nobody can stop this dude. Now, while the story of Akira ends with Akira actually coming back, creating a separate universe that then Tetsu, Akira, and all the other psychics go into, and it's very heavily implied that at some point Tetsuo will become a god of his own universe once he better masters his power. That doesn't happen in this movie, and it's very heavily implied that it likely won't happen for probably millions, if not billions of years. As of right now, he's just some shitty kid with psychic abilities that lashes out at other people. He can't even really control his psychic abilities, as he takes these pills that allow him to sort of control him, and then once the pills wear out, his power just completely takes over and turns him into some giant grotesque baby person. It's a pretty cool film. If you've never seen it, you should check it out. It's very interesting. But based on everything I've told you, it really sounds like Tetsuo should just wash the entire Cyberpunk universe. And as far as the just general power output that he can display with his psychic abilities, that's true. The problem is literally everything else about him. Tetsuo is not smart. He's not that durable. He's not fast. He is the definition of a one-trick pony. He is not capable of defending against or reacting to any projectile fired at him throughout the entire movie unless he sees the person firing at him first and he knows it's about to happen. The protagonist of the movie, Canada or it's some fucking Japanese shit, actually grabs a laser rifle and tries to fight against a powered up version of Tetsuo and does really fucking well and almost wins the fight. The only reason why he loses is because his weapon loses battery power, so when he gets the final shot in that was going to pierce his heart, the gun didn't have the energy to fire a good laser beam, so it just kind of like burnt his shirt. But that would have killed Tetsuo. Tetsuo in this movie is shown being harmed by being flung against walls, shot with a pistol, shot with a laser rifle. Anything that hits him does legitimate damage to him. Throughout the whole film, Canada is only a teenage boy with a rifle who is capable of standing up against and fighting Tetsuo for several minutes and would have won. Now, while I will agree that Canada has a egregious level of plot armor in this movie, I mean, the shit that he's capable of walking away from gives him like god levels of luck. I can't just ignore that there are multiple instances in this movie where regular individual dudes with guns are capable of challenging and nearly killing Tetsuo, even when he has all this crazy power. So in the question of whether or not Tetsuo would be able to deal with the Arasaka Corporation, the answer is a pretty obvious no from me. The first thing Tetsuo does when he gets his power is lash out at the entire fucking city. If he does that in this universe, he's going to become a problem for Arasaka, a number one uno problem. Not something on the back burner, not something that they'll eventually get to. There's basically a fucking like kaiju level threat that's not really a kaiju, but he's like, well, I mean, at the end of the movie, he's kind of a kaiju. Doesn't matter. He's that level of a threat that is in the middle of their city. Like, absolutely they have to deal with him. And in the world of Cyberpunk, where characters can move faster than bullets and has fucking camo technology and guns significantly more powerful than anything in Akira, I don't really see why they wouldn't be able to deal with this. Honestly, I think that once Tetsuo starts his rampage, all Arasaka has to do is send in one max tac unit. Is that what they call it? Unit? It's like unit, squad, platoon. I don't know. One of those fucking flying car things full of max tech guys, and that'll probably be enough to deal with it. If one of them has a Sandevistan, if one of them has camo technology, they can could just set up one of them on a building with a sniper rifle and shoot Tetsuo from the other side of the city, and he's fucking dealt with. He can't react to fast things, and anything they try to do to him will work as long as they can get past his psychic barriers, which he doesn't always have up. He only has them up when he sees something coming. Again, if a teenager with a rifle was capable of nearly killing Tetsuo and fighting him for several minutes without dying, a max tac unit will fucking obliterate him immediately. This really won't be that big of a problem. Now, I could talk about all the shit about like Tetsu being on a timer because he can't get his pills and he can't control his powers, and he'll just turn into this giant monster thing that just goes like way more powerful than what we see Tetsu in the movie. But honestly, I don't think he'll get the time to do that. After he takes the pills at the beginning of the movie, he's basically good for most of that day leading into the next day, and I don't think he'll survive that long. I think Max Tech will get him way before the 2 days are up or whatever, however much time he has. It's enough to kill him. For sure, it's enough to kill him. I don't even think they necessarily need Max Tech. They can literally just take any fucking solo in the city can kill him, really, for the most, like the higher end ones, for sure. And there's a sizable number of them in Night City. Tetsuo is really powerful, but outside of that, he just can't do a whole lot here. If you're enjoying the video, remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, join the membership, you get exclusive access to unique videos that no one else can get. Also, don't forget to go down if you're on mobile, and you go down to the comment section, and you swipe to the left, and a little hype button is there. Click on that hype button. Still kind of trying to figure out what it does. I haven't really figured it out yet, but when I do, I'm gonna let you know I'm on a scientific journey trying to figure out what this shit is or how it affects anything. But are you tired of this ad? So am I. Let's get back to the video. Next up on the list, we have Raiden from the Metal Gear Solid series. I promise you, I am not trying to make rage bait. I swear, I swear it's not what this is. It's weird because the two most powerful characters are going first, but I promise you there's a good reason for it. I have good reasons. But before we get into that, let's actually go over how Raiden will even get involved with Arasaka in the first place. And this seems pretty obvious to me. Raiden sees himself as a heroic figure. He idolizes Snake and wants to go out of his way to help the downtrodden. And in Night City, the downtrodden is downtrodden mostly because of Arasaka. I don't think it's much of a leap or a stretch to assume that Raiden would have an issue with how Arasaka treats all of its people and want to go after them, causing him to be a problem for them. So the question then would become, how strong is Raiden compared to the Cyberpunk universe, or more specifically Arasaka, and would Arasaka be able to deal with someone as strong as Raiden? And I know a lot of people are going to think, no, absolutely not. I mean, this dude is super strong, super fast, he's got the vibro sword, all this kind of shit. But honestly, none of that stuff is shit that we haven't seen in Cyberpunk. I'll give you this, Metal Gear Solid Revengeance specifically is a lot flashier of a series than something like Cyberpunk. So visually, when you just see the characters do stuff, it just seems way more impressive in something like Metal Gear Solid Revengeance than it does in the Cyberpunk universe, but it's really not. The first thing that people are going to talk about when it comes to Raiden is probably the high frequency sword that he has, which in his universe can cut through basically anything. The only thing the sword isn't capable of cutting through that we see is Senator Armstrong himself, and he eventually gets a better sword that can then cut through Senator Armstrong, so that's not even really relevant. The idea of the high frequency blade is that it vibrates at a frequency so high that it can actually loosen the molecules and slice through them, basically negating durability. As I said, in the Metal Gear Solid universe, this basically cuts through anything, and the assumption here is that Cyberpunk doesn't have anything that could possibly defend against this, or anything even close to matching it. To those people, I would say, you haven't really read into the Cyberpunk lore, because yeah, they literally have vibro blades in the Cyberpunk lore. They have all manner of crazy types of swords that do basically the exact same thing. They have vibro blades, like I just said, that do literally the exact same thing that the high frequency blade does, but there's also things like thermal blades that have nuclear reactors inside the blade that heat up anything they touch, which separates the molecules and cut through most armors in the universe like it's butter. They have something called smart matter, which they make their swords out of, which is basically a computer material. Like it's a material with like a computer brain. Basically, when you put it on a sword and you hit something, within like a split second, it will calculate what the material it's clashing against is, and then alter the matter within the blade to be a material that can cut through that material. They use this smart matter to build their weapons as well as their armor, and it can adapt to whatever is being attacked to it, or it attacks other things. My point is that Cyberpunk is actually super fucking advanced and has a lot of cool shit, and not all that cool shit actually makes it into the game, but that is in the lore, and Arasaka produces basically all of this technology. And when I say things like vibro blades cut through most armors, I do mean most armors, not all, the more advanced armors in the universe are completely immune or bare minimum highly resistant to this type of technology. This would include the armor of characters like Atom Smasher, who vibroblades just straight up don't work against at all. It's specifically built to counter these weapons. While it is very impressive in Metal Gear Solid Revengeance that Raiden can cut through all of this stuff and basically cut through almost any material that he comes across, all that means is that the armor in the Metal Gear series isn't nearly as advanced as the armor in Cyberpunk, who has already been able to deal with that. In fact, in Metal Gear Solid Revengeance, Raiden's cybernetics are also highly resistant to high frequency blades because they're made out of a specific material that's capable of defending against that type of weapon. So it's not even like the technology doesn't exist in Metal Gear, it's just that he's like the only person that has it. Or, you know, very few people have it. Now, if Raiden was just existing in the Cyberpunk universe and just doing his normal thing, the vibroblade would be very effective because it is a high-end technology in the Cyberpunk universe. But if he's going specifically against Arasaka, who produces this technology in the first place and produces the armor that's capable of defending against it, that's a bigger problem because it's going to be far more common with Arasaka than a normal person. My point is that the high-frequency blade that Raiden has in the Metal Gear Solid universe, which is like this legendary, amazing, over-the-top blade, is just a high-end blade in the Cyberpunk universe. It's not uncommon to come across, and the absolute most advanced cybernetic characters within the universe, it's going to be very ineffective, or at least significantly less effective than it was in his own game. But a lot of people might say, okay, well that might be true, but that doesn't really matter because Raiden is so much faster, so much stronger, so much more skilled than basically anyone in Cyberpunk. Also, not really true. In terms of speed, he is extremely fast. Don't get me wrong, very, very fast character. But, I mean, he's not really any faster than Cyberpunk characters. Cyberpunk characters, even without the Sandevistan, are shown to be able to process information and move so fast they can deflect automatic rifle fire from several people all shooting at them at once, and they can just deflect it with swords, no problem. That's without the Sandevistan. With the Sandevistan, bullets basically look like they're not even moving in the air. This makes their speed extremely comparable to the stuff that we see Raiden do. I know a lot of people like to say that Raiden can dodge light. No, he can't. There's no evidence of that. I don't know where the fuck they got that shit from. Yeah, there's laser weapons in the game, but he never like sees a laser coming to his face and like slowly moves around it or anything as he watches the laser pass his body. He just dodges people who are firing guns, and those guns happen to be shooting lasers. That's not a fucking light dodging situation. It's just stupid. Stop it. But the biggest one that I think that people are gonna have the hardest time really grasping is the strength. I think pretty much everybody's gonna be on the same page that Raiden is significantly stronger than any character in Cyberpunk. And this is the one that I would say the flashy animations and stuff of the game really do sell that, but it's not true. I already made a whole video talking about Atom Smasher and just how strong Atom Smasher is, and that gravity feat that he has that basically was calculated at 4,500 tons being put on top of his body, that he was not only just standing in, but also capable of walking forward while having this 4,500 tons on top of his head. Now, a lot of people will say, well, Raiden is significantly stronger than that because he was capable of throwing Excelsius, which was a Metal Gear that he fought in Metal Gear Solid Revenge. Basically, all of these are going to be from Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. But I think the only reason why people would say that is because they just don't know weight. And I was confirmed in thinking this when, out of curiosity, I decided to check Versus Battle Wiki to see what they thought his strength was, and they calculated the weight of Excelsius, the Metal Gear, at 9,000 tons. What the fuck? How did you get 9,000 tons? Do you have any idea how much weight that is? Excelsius is like, what? 5-6 stories max, mostly hollow, and only that tall because it's being lifted up by a bunch of thin-ass spider legs. How did you get 9,000 tons? You want an example of something that's 9,000 tons in our real world? A U.S. naval destroyer, fully loaded. Do you know how big a U.S. naval destroyer is? It's over 500 feet long, nearly the size of 2 football fields. It's more than 160 feet tall, nearly the height of a 15-story building. You can take multiple Excelsius and fit them on the deck of a naval destroyer. That's the size difference we're talking about. Just based on size alone, the Excelsius cannot be anywhere near the weight of 9,000 tons. That is fucking insane to me. Look at this thing. I'll try and find some footage of the boss fight and put it on screen. Does this thing look anywhere near the size of a fucking naval destroyer, which is basically a skyscraper on the water? This is why I make fun of scalers and versus. Well, that's not really, I make fun of them because they're assholes, but they make it so easy for me to make fun of them for being assholes because, like, where are they getting this math? They think they're so fucking smart, and they're not. How could you be this fucking off? 9,000 tons? Does this thing look anywhere near the size of 2 football fields? Does it look like over 300 soldiers can live here for months on end on the water, with their work area, living quarters, kitchen, and sleep area all fitting on here relatively comfortably? No! Of course not. I bet you the person that calculated that thought that they were really smart for that. I bet you they really patted themselves on the back. They're like, yep, a job well done. Where are you getting 9,000? That's fucking crazy. Atom Smasher can stand and walk through having the weight of half a U.S. naval destroyer on top of his head, and if you cut that half of a naval destroyer in half again, that still would be several times more weight than the Excelsius Metal Gear that Raiden chucked through the air. This is not even close, guys. Now, the gap's not going to be as far apart as I'm making it sound, because Atom Smasher just stood there with the weight on top of him. He didn't pick it up or chuck it like Raiden did, but the comparison still isn't really there. Atom Smasher is significantly stronger, not just slightly stronger, and the weapons that Raiden use aren't really going to work, and their speeds are all comparable. So Raiden, if you put him in the Cyberpunk universe, will basically be like a high-end dude. Like, he's not going to be significantly stronger than the entire universe, not even close. But the part that's really going to fuck him, and the reason why he's so low on this list, is the hacking shit. Because Raiden doesn't really have any anti-hacking technology, and there's no real evidence that the hacking in Metal Gear comes anywhere near what it does in Cyberpunk. Now, there is some question among the fan base of whether or not Cyberpunk netrunners can actually hack into things that are not connected directly to the net, which there's a little bit of like disagreements there, but I don't really know why. There's nothing in the lore that says they can only hack into things that are directly tied to the net. As long as it has a wireless system, they should be able to get into it. Now, there are some limitations if it's not connected to the net, like they have to see it in order to connect into it, but if Raiden is going to get into a fight with a fucking army of dudes and going up against Arasaka Corporation, the netrunners will be able to see him, so they will be able to actually hack into his system. And we know that he has wireless systems because he has a fucking news feed in him. Like, he can see the news and he knows details that come out on the news and history and stuff like that. It gets fed into him during the game. He can't do that without a wireless connection. He also has a communication systems that goes with other people. Those are two obvious examples that he does indeed have a Wi-Fi connection. While in a fight, he'll be able to defeat most of the Cyberpunk universe, but not the top tiers. When it comes to net running, he gets wiped out by basically anybody he runs into. It's not even going to be close. They could literally immediately shut him down on sight, and he has no defense for it. So no, Raiden's not going to do well here. Next up on the list, we have Jack from Ghostrunner, and I'm going to try and not spoil too much about this one because I actually think it has a pretty interesting story that you might want to experience. But to just give you a basic description, basically a long time ago, before the start of the series, there were some massive happenings that happened on the planet Earth that made it completely unlivable, like you do in basically all of these games. Once that happened, some rich and powerful billionaire came out and was like, you know what, I'm gonna build this massive tower that everybody can live in all happy and shit so we can stay away from the death that is Earth now. This tower ended up being called Dharma Tower. Among the many eventful things that happened in this tower, one of them was this guy creating these things called Ghostrunners, which was basically supposed to be the law enforcement arm within Dharma City. Some other stuff happened and this big AI bitch like rose up and overthrew him, and it became like a whole thing. Again, it's kind of complicated. I'm not gonna go through all of it, but basically the gist of the story is that you play as Jack, a Ghostrunner, the, as of now, last Ghostrunner, as far as people believe the last Ghostrunner, because they were all deactivated prior. Ghostrunners being test tube babies that were specifically bred for the sole purpose to turn into cyborgs, to put them under control of the architect so he can better control and defend and protect the population of Dharma City. If I had to give the closest comparison I could think of for the story, it's basically Snowpiercer. The only real difference is that, well, it's a train, obviously, but also in Snowpiercer, it's got way more of a leaning towards the rich versus the poor, and how the rich use the poor for their own benefit. And while this does have a bit of that, it's way more about a person's humanity. When the story starts, Jack's only really doing the things that he's doing because he's programmed to do it. He doesn't have any humanity. He's essentially a robot. Throughout the course of the story, he starts developing feelings and emotions and thoughts of his own and questioning the things that he's he's doing and sort of like becomes his own person. The game takes the position that you should question your leaders and not just blindly follow orders, because oftentimes the people who seemingly have your best interests at heart, and perhaps they themselves believe they have your best interests at heart, they might not necessarily be doing the best things for you. Now, as for what Jack is actually capable of doing in terms of physicality, he's a fucking cyborg ninja. He can do all the shit that you would expect a cyborg ninja to be able to do. You ever play Overwatch and was like, oh, this Genji dude, I really like this guy. I would like to play an entire storyline of just playing like this with this playstyle, going through a game with this character. This is really the closest you're gonna get to that. He does all the same shit. He can wall run and jump, and he hooks onto shit with his fucking zip line thing and or grapple hook, whatever you want to call it, and pulls himself to it. There's a lot of parkouring in this game. It has certain similarities in movement to games like Mirror's Edge, but you also have like the ability to fight and shit. You have a katana, you can throw these energy-based shurikens at people, you can slow down time to react to things and kill people and dodge bullets and shit. You can deflect and parry attacks and projectiles back at enemies. You have a camo ability that turns you invisible and simultaneously creates a hologram to which enemies will attack so that you can go around and attack them from other ways. And you have this like force push ability where out of your hand it just shoots a bunch of air, but it's deadly to humans. You could literally just turn them into fucking paste by hitting them with this massive air blast. It basically looks like a deadly force push. And honestly, that's about it. When comparing Jack to someone like Raiden, there's really no comparison to be made. Raiden is significantly more powerful. So why is Raiden lower than Jack on this list? And he's lower for a reason that I've actually given before on this channel, where oftentimes when you have characters that are so much more powerful, where the entire point of their character and their story is to just go up against these insurmountable odds and fight all these massive badasses, oftentimes when you pull them out of their universe and put them into a universe that's more powerful, or where they have to go up against greater threats, they oftentimes die faster than weaker characters, because weaker characters don't necessarily throw themselves in those same situations. There's a really good chance that you take Jack and put him in the Cyberpunk world, and he won't even start problems with Arasaka. I don't really think it's even possible to put Raiden in Cyberpunk and not have him fuck with Arasaka at some point. He has this pretty strong hero complex, as well as PTSD and an obsessive need to correct the wrongs of his past by going out and helping people. I mean, he literally picks a fight with a senator from the United States who's running for president. If you're willing to go to war with a possible future president and fight giant fucking mechs, you're basically willing to take on anybody for the good of the people. That's not necessarily the case for Jack. In his own game, he does take on the rulers of Dharma Tower, that's true, but for most of that game, he doesn't have a choice because he's being programmed to do it. And for the last portion of the game, while protecting people and like defending justice is a part of it, he also kind of has to do it for his own survival. So it's hard to say that he would just go out of his way to fucking, you know, go and attack Arasaka because they're screwing over the population. I think you can also argue that the rulers of Dharma Tower were doing a lot worse shit than Arasaka is. We also very clearly see in Ghostrunner 2 that he doesn't really have the same hero complex that Raiden has. He literally just fucks off at the end of the game to just go and find himself and just leaves all the people behind. I mean, yeah, the problem that he wanted to deal with was dealt with at that game, but it's not like he forces himself to stay there and help as many people as possible. He really is his own person by the end of these games, and he just kind of wants to go off and do his own thing. So while it is 100% true that Jack is not going to be able to take on the absolute most powerful characters in the Cyberpunk universe, not even close. I mean, he's really a glass cannon in this game. He dies in one hit, literally. Like, that's like a part of the game. If you get hit one time in any level, you die. The whole point of this game, gameplay wise, is to have to fight through the levels without ever getting hit. It's like a speed running sort of thing. You're supposed to zip around at super fast speeds, one-shotting every person you attack, while also getting one-shot yourself, and you have to get through every level without being hit. So it's very clear that you're just not all that strong. Jack 100% can hit harder than he can get hit. And don't get me wrong, he can 100% hit pretty fucking hard. He also has a monomolecular blade, which I'm starting to realize is super fucking common in these sci-fi universes. I'm starting to understand less and less why Warhammer fans are so obsessed with the whole, oh, they have a monomolecular chainsaw blade. Like, it's in everything. There's only 5 universes in this video, and 3 of them have monomolecular blades. It's starting to feel very, very common. While Jack also has a time slowdown speed up ability, it's nowhere near as good as a Sandevistan. For one, it doesn't last very long. It literally, even by his perspective, it only lasts a couple of seconds, and it doesn't slow down time as much as the best Sandevistan from the Cyberpunk universe. Actually, projectiles as a whole in this game don't fly as fast as projectiles in Cyberpunk or really in the real world. Basically, everyone in the entire game fires some form of energy weapon, and those energy weapons just don't fly as fast as normal bullets. They are very clearly not at above sonic speeds, so his slowdown move doesn't have to be all that good for him to be able to dodge and deflect and do this kind of shit to the projectiles in the same way the Sandevistans would have to be in the Cyberpunk universe. But the main 100% killer that's really gonna fuck him here is the fact that Ghostrunners are programmed that they're not allowed to use guns. This is specifically because the creator of the Ghostrunners didn't want them destroying Dharma Tower, and they realized that there's way too much collateral damage when Ghostrunners were capable of using guns, so Jack has it programmed in his head that he's not allowed to use a gun. If he tries to pick up a gun and fire it, he literally won't be able to pull the trigger, so he literally has no choice in this game but to use just a sword, which is wild. And normally that wouldn't be that big of a deal because the Cyberpunk characters also only use a sword sometimes. They're fast enough to deflect bullets and react to them, and a person with a sword in Cyberpunk can fight against a person with a gun, but Jack's not that fast. Jack can deflect the projectiles, but he's not deflecting hundreds of shots from multiple people all firing automatic weapons at him at the same time. He's nowhere near that fast. He's parrying one energy attack from usually one or two people at a time, and the timing is super fucking not lax. The opposite, it's bad. It's really, like, it's hard timing. This game isn't the easiest thing ever. So his survival here is almost entirely based on how much of a threat he is to Arasaka, and if he can put himself in a situation, or if he can deal with Arasaka in a way that doesn't make him their biggest fucking problem, which I don't see him being their biggest problem. I don't see them sending Atom Smasher after Jack. Adam didn't even go after V, who was a major threat to them, until he specifically assaulted Arasaka Tower. Despite the fact that he was fucking them up that whole game, they just never bothered sending him. So I don't see them sending him after Jack, and I don't see Jack attacking Arasaka Tower because I don't think he would ever believe that that's something he'd be able to win. He doesn't have to be in this universe all that long before he realizes that a lot of these characters are just as powerful as he is, many of which are more so. Also, I didn't really touch on the hacking here, but that's because I don't really think that's going to be that big of a thing. Jack does have the ability to control the minds of other people via hacking-ish, I guess, kinda, but it's not going to do anything in Cyberpunk because the way it works in Ghostrunner is that the architect planted all the people there with chips in their head that were specifically designed to control them, and Jack gained the ability to control that specific chip. You take that chip out of their head and Jack can't control them anymore. It's not like he can hack into their cybernetics and just control them at will like Netrunners can in Cyberpunk. And when it comes to Jack himself, there really isn't a whole lot of evidence that he has any real wireless connection going to him. The only thing he has is a communication system where he can like talk to someone like it's a phone, but I don't think that's necessarily enough to get into all of his systems. The cybernetics in this universe are relatively low tech, and there isn't a whole lot of connections between things when it comes to the human people with cybernetics. So I'm not even 100% sure the Netrunners will be able to do that much to him when it comes to that regard. Really, all I see Jack doing is things that would annoy Arasaka and be a problem for Arasaka, but not really anything to go out of their way to try and kill him by sending their biggest dudes after him. And this could likely lead to his death at some point due to his more fragile nature, because his armor is nowhere near the rest of the characters' armors in Cyberpunk. But I do think he's shown to be smart enough to not put himself in that sort of situation where Arasaka would make him their prime target. And I also think because of his more ninja nature, it's also possible that everything he does to Arasaka, they wouldn't even necessarily find out that he's doing it. Again, he is a ninja. You know what I would find to be a pretty cool fight? Not necessarily Jack versus Atom Smasher, that's totally fucking one-sided. But maybe Jack versus, what's his name, Gojo? Or Gogo? The fucking dude that you fight with who has the katana during the parade. In Cyberpunk 2077 is the bodyguard of Saburo Arasaka's daughter. I think his name is Gojo or something. He's the friend of Takakura or Takamura, whatever that dude's name is. He's that guy. You have a big-ass boss fight with him, and he's like a samurai dude, and he pulls out a fucking katana, and you fight him, and I usually like to pull out a katana and have a sword fight. I could see that being kind of a cool fight that, like, either one could win, but anybody above him, and nah, dude, Jack's fucked. Last up, but certainly not least, we have Johnny Turbo from Turbo Overkill. And before I get into this, let me just fucking freak out for a second, okay? I really love this game. Oh my god, is this game so much fun, and it came at just the right time. I was so fucking bummed this whole year because all the games I was looking forward to, all of the big AAA titles I was playing, were all massive fucking disappointments. My most anticipated game of the year, Doom: The Dark Ages, big fucking disappointment. There were things I liked about it. I didn't hate the game or anything. Very disappointed in the game overall though, especially coming off the back of Doom Eternal, which to me was like the best shooter in the last 10 years. And then out of nowhere, after just fucking disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, you know, Borderlands 4, another massive disappointment, I came across this little game. It was $20 on PSN. I purchased it, I started playing it, and it's fucking damn near my game of the year. And yes, I'm aware this game did not come out this year, but I didn't play it until this year. I haven't heard of this game till a week ago. So for me, it's my game of the year. Don't go fucking questioning me, bitch. Which is fucking wild, dude. Do you have any idea what that means? All of these massive AAA studios, these multi-million to tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollar games with their next-gen photorealistic graphics that I don't give a shit about, and massive open worlds with nothing of value to do, just a bunch of shitty busy work that just loves wasting your fucking time for no reason. It's not fun. It's not adding anything to your experience. It's shit. It's all fucking shit. And it was making me not like video games anymore. And this has not just been going on this year. This has been going on for quite some time. But my love of video games was fucking draining, dude. But then all of a sudden, two little titles came out that were both made by very few people. And they were fucking awesome. They blew all these other games out of the water. As of right now, my game of the year is between Expedition 33 and Turbo Overkill. They're fucking cool, dude. These are good games. Expedition 33 was made by 13 people. They found their writer on Discord and their music composer on Reddit. And they made arguably the best game all year. And now Turbo Overkill, like 70 or 80% of the game, was made by one dude. Just one guy. And then the publisher saw him making the game and then hired a couple of part-time programmers to help him spruce it up a bit. And then they released it. And again, it's like the best game of the whole fucking year. It's so much fun. I'm annoyed I have to make this video because I want to go play more of it. You guys are stopping me from going and doing this thing I want to do. And you know what the crazy part about all this is? Turbo Overkill only sold 200,000 copies. Barely anybody played it. And I was thinking, oh shit, that's a failure. But no, the creator of the game said they made more than enough money to make a sequel and several other spin-off games because the game itself didn't actually cost all that much to make. The game's not short. It doesn't feel like a half of a game. The graphics aren't bad. They're very stylized. There's multiple parts of this game where I just like looking at the environments. They don't look fucking photorealistic, but who gives a shit? If I want to see something photorealistic, I'll go outside. When I'm playing games, I want to see something artistic and awesome that I can't see if I look outside. That's what Turbo Overkill does for me, okay? The combat is amazing. The guns are awesome. The story is actually pretty fucking lengthy and meaty, and it's really interesting and good. It has a good story, guys. An actual good story that's not bullshit. Oh my god, it's awesome. I love this game. If you haven't played Turbo Overkill, go fucking buy it. Go get Turbo Overkill, go buy it, go play it. It's awesome because I'm looking for excuses to add this character to more videos. And I want people in the comments to be able to engage with me when I talk about them. Go play it. So to get to the actual point of this video, so I can, you know, finish it up and go play more Turbo Overkill, what exactly is the whole deal with Turbo Overkill? What's going on? Because only 200,000 people have actually played this game, this is another one where I'm not going to go too much into detail about spoiling the story, just the things I absolutely have to tell you. But basically, you play as a character named Johnny who joins the street cleaners who are basically sent into this moon that was colonized, the moon's called Paradise, to deal with this thing called the Sin virus. And essentially, it's a really fucking cool, it's kind of like a techno-organic virus in a way, but not really. Like, it has the ability to control all biology as well as technology, and it fuses that biology and technology together to create these disgusting amalgamation of biology, technology creatures that that the street cleaners go in to clear out because they don't really have any other way to deal with it. The Sin virus itself was created and is controlled by this AI god being thing known as Sin that was created by a human, but then, you know, gained consciousness, you know the whole deal. And I'm not going to go into too much, but it goes way beyond just the Sin virus. Like, the story of the game takes place over several years, and it evolves, and shit gets progressively worse, and there's a large portion of the game you're not even dealing with Sin, and it goes through a lot of cool stuff. Your character, Johnny Turbo, goes through very interesting character arcs, which by the end of the game, he's basically a completely fucking different person, because, again, it's been several years since the start of the game. It's a lot of cool shit. Again, not gonna, like, spoil it. But the question of who Johnny Turbo is, and if he'll get involved with Arasaka, is a very most likely yes, because Johnny Turbo does whatever the fuck he wants. There's a prequel comic that comes in the game. It's in the extras of the game, and you can read it, and it kind of tells you a little bit about Johnny Turbo, and sort of just gets you up to date on all the characters and what's going on and whatnot before the actual start of the story. And in that, Johnny Turbo is kind of like a Captain America type character. He just always does what's right and wants to defend the people and all that kind of stuff. By the time you actually play the game, level 1, you're a totally fucking different person from that prequel comic because some really bad shit happened to you. Basically, someone tried to kill you and left you some disgusting cyborg abomination, and Johnny Turbo is like a little racist towards cyborg, not racist towards cyborgs, but he just doesn't see how someone can possibly do that to themselves, and he doesn't understand it, and it kind of grosses him out. So him being turned into one, like, he fucking hates it, and he's on a timer, and he only has 8 months to live, and he's decided to spend those 8 months going after the person who initially killed him in the first place, and he's just a very lost soul that doesn't have any sort of connection to humanity or anything anymore. He just kind of wants to die in a blaze of glory, killing the people who he knows killed him. This storyline really only covers, like, I don't know, the first, like, 2/5 of the game, and this was his entire reason for joining the street cleaners in the first place, not to clear out all the stuff, that he just knew that the person who did this to him was going to be down there because she is a street cleaner. The whole theme of the story is about who Johnny is as a person and this sort of downfall that he's coming and his attachment to humanity. It's sort of the opposite of Jax from Ghostrunner. Ghostrunner starts off as a machine person who then slowly gains his humanity as he learns to make his own decisions, whereas Johnny starts off with about as much humanity as a person can have. Again, he's like Captain America, who loses his humanity before the start of the game and then basically spends the whole game trying to earn it back. But it's kind of crazy because as the game goes on, again, trying not to spoil, but he literally becomes less human as the game goes on. But it's kind of like the less human he becomes, the more his humanity comes back. It's an interesting story. I'm not going to spoil too much of it. As for what Johnny is actually capable of, it's a lot. A lot of the powers that you would expect from this kind of cyberpunky type game, he also has. He has the slowdown power where he can go super, super fast. He has a bunch of the crazy sci-fi guns. He has 4 chainsaw limbs. Both arms and both legs use fucking chainsaws. I mean, it's cool. That's awesome. There's only one character I know of that has more chainsaws on their body, and his name is literally Chainsaw Man. There's a lot of fucking chainsaws. The general physics of the game and the abilities that Johnny Turbo has is kind of like a fucking, I don't know, like an old school action boomer shooter and a lot. I mean, yeah, it is. There's a rocket jump in this game, right? You can rocket jump, but in the actual story, he rocket jumps. Like, he's on the top of the skyscraper and he jumps off and he shoots it. You know what? I'm not even going to explain it. I'm just going to show it to you because it's fucking cool. So watch it here. What I tell you, it was fucking cool, right? Yeah, games filled with all kinds of cool shit like this. It's awesome. Johnny has some of the most interesting, fun, and just conceptually cool weapons that I've seen in a shooter in a long time. Like, for instance, there's a sniper in the game, right? And it's just like a normal sniper. You shoot people. I will say it's a lot better than a lot of snipers in normal games because you don't have to look through the sights for the sniper to be useful. And it actually has a pretty high fire rate despite its damage. It's a very powerful sniper. And if you hold down the fire button, it charges up and becomes a rail cannon, which is also just as awesomely powerful as you would expect. fact, it's actually so powerful that every time you shoot it, it launches you like 15 feet back, which is particularly impressive when you see how strong Johnny is, that it's even capable of moving him. But that's something that also happens. But that's not the cool part. The cool part is that the alternate fire allows you to aim at someone and then use alternate fire, and then you teleport to the person you're aiming at inside their body. They explode and you replace where they are. So the gun is not only a really fucking cool gun, like just conceptually, but it's also a traversal mechanic. So when you're in the middle of a fight, you could just start zipping around the fucking battlefield, just teleporting inside people's bodies and blowing them up all willy-nilly. That's just one gun. That's not even in my top 3 favorite guns. There's a lot of cool guns in this game, man. You have this mini rocket launcher thing on your arm where you like press square and then it comes out and then you just scan everyone in the room. I've never counted how many you could scan, but like I've cleared whole rooms with it. There's a lot of rockets, and it just fires out a bunch of homing mini rockets, just lays waste to everyone in the fucking room. It's cool. You have this grappling hook that works on shit in the environment, but also works on people. He has the power to teleport to any portal. You can use portals. Portals exist in the game, but he specifically has the power to look at a portal and then teleport directly to or through that portal just by sight, which is something that normal people can't do. The way he travels around the level is really fucking cool. He doesn't just run like a normal person. Because he has chainsaw legs, he like hooks his chainsaw into the ground and turns it on, and the spinning becomes almost like wheels, and he flings himself all around the level with just these chains. Like, he moves so fucking fast. I recently made a video where I talked about Serious Sam and said that he ran about 32 miles per hour. Like, if you actually take his speed running in the game, he moves at around 32 miles per hour. This dude moves like nearly 100 miles per hour. Like, he's so much faster than probably any shooter I've played in the last 10 years. Dude's fast as fuck. Makes Doom Guy look like he's going slow. One of the big bad villains of the game is this AI Sin, and as I said before, this AI Sin has the ability to manipulate biology as well as technology and just sort of morph around, and there's like this Sin corruption that spreads across the entire planet. Extremely fast, by the way. At one point, there's this thing called Artifact Zero, which is the most powerful computer that exists. Sin has the ability to adapt things and then add certain technologies to her own programming and become more intelligent, all this shit. And she gets Artifact Zero, and the moment she gets Artifact Zero, she immediately takes over the entire planet with her infection all at the same time. They say within a split second, she takes over 932,000 biocores, which is essentially in this game kind of like massive relays for computer information that go across the planet. And she becomes more intelligent, more powerful, all this kind of stuff. Her power over both biology and technology is fucking insane. It's damn near up to the level of someone like Cyborg from DC Comics. Like, it doesn't have to have a computer chip or something inside of it for her to control it. It just has to in some way qualify as technology, and she has absolute and complete control over it. And yet she is not capable of properly controlling Johnny at all. Not biologically or technologically. Now, throughout most of the game, she can kind of sort of affect him, kind of, but you do eventually get this tech chip that just straight up makes you immune to the corruption in any conceivable way, which means there's really no hacking in Cyberpunk that's going to do anything to Johnny at all, because the technological manipulation that exists within Turbo Overkill is just so much greater than anything that exists in Cyberpunk. It's not even funny. Alt Cunningham would be a fucking joke in the face of Sin. The biological manipulation gets so insane that Sin, after she takes over the entire like moon of paradise, she then creates these giant fleshy limbs using all the flesh that she's taking control of, and she reaches out and grabs the planet that the moon is revolving around and pulls the moon into the planet and starts infecting the planet as well. It's like this, it looks like this giant fucking tumor that's growing off the side of the planet, and it's just nothing like this in Cyberpunk. There's just nothing there even close. By the end of this game, Johnny Turbo is considered a character who's killed 2 different gods. There's a character in this game who tries to steal Sin's power, and he does successfully, but all of the knowledge that Sin has and all of the power that Sin has acquired is just too much for his human brain. Sin straight up says you need someone with more of a brain than a human in order to control and deal with this power. It starts driving this dude fucking insane. He starts talking about how he can see into every timeline, and he's seen what's happened after death, and he's in just constant agony trying to control this power because he has it for like a year or two, and he's super powerful while he has it. He's basically completely immortal. There are multiple instances where he shows up right in front of you and starts talking to you, and you can shoot him and kill him immediately, but then he just builds another body like right next to that one or right where that one is every time you kill him, because he can just rebuild new bodies via the flesh. There's a lot of trippy shit in this game, man. You know what, I'm starting to realize that this section of the video is not very organized, but you know, I mean, let me let me fucking enjoy this, okay? Just give me that. Point is that Johnny Turbo would 100% go after Arasaka because he's a character who just does what needs to be done. Like I said, he is very much so like a Captain America type at the beginning who loses his humanity, and then throughout the game he becomes more of that Captain America again, but he's still not Captain America again. He's more like if Captain America opened himself up to be a little more like the Punisher or Kratos or something. He's just this force of death and destruction. He is multiple times in this story called a murder machine. He just doesn't care. And he even has some personality traits that are similar to that of Doom Guy. Like at one point there's this chick who wronged him and he meets her and she's like, look, I understand that we have issues, but there's bigger issues. Like the entire solar system is at threat with this fucking sin thing. Can we put this on the back burner and go deal with that? And Johnny just fucking kills her. He's just like, no. And then he goes off to start fucking with sin by himself. Like, I don't need no one's help. If they need to die, he goes after and kills them. And I think you can 100% argue that Arasaka is a group that needs to die. And if Johnny Turbo is coming after them, that's a big fucking problem. And this is where I sort of hit kind of a weird thing, because on the surface, if you look at the things that Johnny has done, they don't compare with the things that Atom Smasher has done. I know I keep going into the Atom Smasher well, but he's kind of like the peak shit that you're gonna see when you deal with Arasaka. So like if someone can beat him, they can basically deal with Arasaka. So I'm gonna keep running into him anytime someone's super powerful. But he doesn't have anything close to what Atom Smasher has. He doesn't have the 4,500 ton strength level that Atom Smasher has. But if you look at the enemies he's defeated and the shit that he's done, it just seems unrealistic he wouldn't win here. He literally kills an AI god that takes over an entire planet. He fucking drives a nuke into a moon-sized starship. He doesn't get hit by the nuke, he jumps off beforehand, but it's fucking cool. There's one boss in the game that starts absorbing energy from all across the solar system, and during the boss, he's warping reality and creating black holes in the solar system and teleporting all across paradise and into space and all this kind of shit, and Johnny's just going along with him, fighting him as he's getting teleported all across the solar system. And it's just like in this, they call this thing like it's a fucking god, and Johnny just fights it and eventually kills it. Johnny's not shown to be god levels of power, but it doesn't matter what you put him up against. It doesn't matter what enemy he has to face. He's just so skilled and fights with so much tenacity and is just like a fucking murder machine that he just overcomes every challenge he faces. It's not like Doom. Doom Guy in the game Doom kills like an army of demons, right? But in canon, none of these demons are actually capable of harming Doom Guy. That's not even close to the case for Johnny. He can be killed by literally any enemy in the entire game, from the very weakest enemies to the absolute strongest enemies. But he just overcomes it anyway? I just don't see Johnny overcoming characters like Sin, a literal AI god, or Astral Maw, who is reality warping across the entire solar system and doing all this bullshit. And he's capable of dealing with them, but he can't deal with fucking Atom Smasher because Atom Smasher can tank a nuke. Can Johnny tank a nuke? No. There's no evidence he can. He's died to way less than a nuke on multiple occasions. He dies twice in this game and comes back to life. But the things that he has overcome are just so much more dangerous and powerful than anything we see in Cyberpunk. It's a weird situation. It really is. Perhaps you could say this is a situation where he's a glass cannon, you know, where he can be shot by pistols and harmed, but his guns themselves can still shoot and kill giant robots and all kinds of fucking starships and all kinds. Like, he has an ion blaster which fires down an orbital laser that just fucking vaporizes everything in the area. Is that the level of a nuke? Will that do something to Atom Smasher? Does it matter if it does or not? Atom Smasher's not gonna survive like 20 of those. Is Atom Smasher completely immune to being shot with a goddamn rail cannon? Because Johnny runs around holding a rail cannon, firing at people. I think this is sort of a thing where he's a glass cannon, but he's a glass cannon that moves at extremely high speeds, that is used to fighting thousands of enemies, just the fucking thousands. Like, throughout the course of this game, he basically slaughters the population of Night City. And I really just don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that he would wipe out characters like V and Atom Smasher and all of Arasaka, and they won't really be able to do that much to him because he's just that skilled. He's just a level of fucking brutality that doesn't exist in Cyberpunk. It's just not there. It's like if you take Greek Kratos and you throw him into the games of the Norse God of War series. They're not ready for that shit. Whether they're stronger or not, it doesn't matter. They have no idea the horror that's coming for them. I don't really watch Death Battle anymore, but a really, really long time ago, there was this one Death Battle I remember. It was, I think it was Nightmare versus Guts. And I always thought that one was kind of funny because the whole video, the dudes over there at Death Battle, they're like hyping the shit out of Nightmare. And it's like, Nightmare's so powerful, he can do all this, he can take out cities, he sucked the soul of an entire army at the same time. A lot of the same shit I say. He's just like, he's so amazing. And they go over to Guts, it's like, Guts is like a cool dude, he's got like a big sword and shit, he's strong, he fights demons. And everything about what they said makes it think that Nightmare is gonna win. And then they have the fight, and Guts wins. And their reasoning is because, like, so? Guts kills all kinds of shit that's way above his level all the time. There ain't nothing Nightmare has that's new for him that he won't be able to overcome. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that video. I kind of get the premise that they're going with because I kind of have it here. On paper, Atom Smasher seems more powerful, but I don't buy for a second they'll be able to defeat Johnny Turbo because of the shit you see Johnny Turbo do in this game. It's fucking crazy shit, guys. This is one of those situations where scaling and the rules of scaling just completely fall flat because scaling completely ignores story comprehension. Stories aren't about math. They're not about how strong and durable and fast is this character. Let's compare it to this character. How strong and durable and fast. Okay, this character wins. No, fiction is filled with situations of characters who are less powerful, less fast, less skilled than the greater challenges that they have to overcome. That's just all over the fucking place. I remember once I got into a talk with a dude who was talking about Beowulf, and he was comparing Beowulf's strength and speed and all this stuff to Grendel. If you ever like read the story of Beowulf, that's ridiculous. Like, Beowulf's just a dude. People to this day will be like, nah, man, he's like strong enough to fucking blast through like concrete walls because he should match the strength of Grendel. No, he's not. He overcomes Grendel, who is a more powerful force than him. He also kills a fucking dragon in that story. Is he stronger and all in the no. This is what fiction is filled with. And this is one of those situations where I think, despite the fact that Atom Smasher is a little bit faster and considerably stronger, as long as Johnny is capable of harming him in some way with his weapons, which I believe he has insanely powerful weapons, then he will overcome the fight regardless of the power difference between the two characters. He just is that kind of character, and Atom Smasher really isn't. So what do I think will happen if Johnny Turbo arrives in Night City? I think he's going to slaughter fucking, like, not the whole population of Night City, like, he's not going to kill innocent people. But yeah, no, Arasaka's dead. Everybody's dead. He's not going to play their bullshit games. He's a very straight shooter. V in Cyberpunk 2077 is really good at navigating the inner politics of all of these different characters and companies and corporations. Johnny's not going to do any of that shit. Johnny's just going to kill everybody who causes problems. He will 100% assault Arasaka Tower. And I don't really think Atom Smasher is going to be able to do a whole lot against him. I mean, even the powers that they share, like, I will say, Atom Smasher is faster when he uses Sandevistan than Johnny is when he uses Turbo Time, which is basically his variation of slowing down time and moving super fast. However, he can use it way more. It doesn't have any sort of negative effects to him. It's basically just a constant power-up he can have whenever. And he also defeated Jazz, who had Turbo Time when he didn't. Jazz is a boss in the game that you have to fight, and he has Turbo Time, and he's zipping around the whole level, and he's a boss fight. And you, as Johnny, who's not capable of moving anywhere near as fast as Jazz is, still beat him in a fight. Because you start to understand, it doesn't matter if you're faster. It doesn't matter if you're stronger, more durable, have bigger weapons, is a better fighter. Johnny's gonna fucking kill you if he wants to kill you. This is the type of character he is. He's fucking awesome. Go buy Turbo Overkill. But that's gonna be all from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, there's 4 other videos gonna appear on the screen right now. Click on one of them, watch them, because YouTube really likes it when you click one of them. It really helps the algorithm out, and it helps the videos reach farther. I would greatly appreciate it. And always remember, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?